Poliwrath shields up the Leaf Blade, commits to the counter farm down, back out. Comes Steelix, we throw one counter and the Scald. Get my Poliwrath out of here. I'm spamming the switch timer. Doesn't pop up. It's now all down to Galvantula to get rid of this Steelix. In comes Galvantula. We throw 2 Volt Switches and the lunge for optimal fast move timing. Is lunge enough to knock out? No, it's not. Steelix gonna outpace us by a single turn. Is the squishy Galvantula thick enough to survive a move? Yes, it is. And the stupid Steel Snake can eat a BM to the face. Welcome back to the home of Shadow Pokemon. This season I did promise to showcase more of my own battles, so today we're going to be asking the question, is Shadow Galvantula worth the investment? Mine's now powered up to level 50.5, it's 2483 CP, it's actually 1 power up short, but it is what it is, it's close enough. This is one of the most expensive mon you could possibly build for the Ultra League. It's going to cost over 700,000 dust, so don't worry, I've got you. My elo always comes second to entertainment. Of course, we're not going to be pairing it up with 2 really thick mon to try and pad it out. We're always about that entertainment, so we've got a full triple shadow team with Poliwrath and Drapion. Without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, we pick up a good lead against Cresselia. I say good, not great, because if this opponent runs Future Sight would one-shot us before we debuff. Using a 4-turn move, it's really easy to catch. The opponent makes a nice catch, catching the lunge onto Registeel. However, that debuff's going to come in clutch. My Shadow Poliwrath now easily survives the Zap Cannon. The opponent, of course, get the attack drop, which means I'm going to be unable to counter farm down. Icy Wind possibly wouldn't get the job done. I play it safe, go for the Scald, take an undercharge, and we get the perfect counter farm down just before the opponent reaches the Focus Blast. Returning will be Cresselia, and Cresselia is about to get that debuff treatment, or at least I hope so. We fire off the Scald first. Scald gives us that 50% chance of that attack drop. Mr. Opponent, you run BBML, and RNG will not be in your favour. Poliwrath fires off the Icy Wind, now debuffing this Cresselia once more. Despite debuffing Cresselia's non-existent attack by 2 stages, we don't want to tank a charge move on Galvantula, as Galvantula cannot really tank a charge move for shit. We absorb on Drapion and the opponent sends out Ampharos. You will notice in this battle I've got Aqua Tail. It's going to be Sludge Bomb for the remainder of the video. I've actually got 2 Shadow Drapions. This one on the screen is a beautiful 0-15-15. Let's fucking go. However, I've also got a Hundo which will be put in after this battle that has got Sludge Bomb. And I think you need Sludge Bomb for stuff like dragons, especially Guzzlord. The opponent invests their final Protect Shield. It's now Galvantula's time to shine. We shield up the Brutal Swing, return fire with the lunge, get this Ampharos out of here, back out, comes Cresselia, and let's put this opponent's moveset to the test. If you've got Future Sight, you can have my Galvantula. The opponent throws the Moonblast, the squishy Galvantula shrugs off the damage, and that's going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. In the next battle, Galvantula into Tapu Fini. Beautiful. The opponent say switches into a Shadow Claw Giratina, and we answer with Drapion. You'll notice we have now switched to our more squishy variant, however it does hit harder as it is a Hondo. This one is only level 41.5, the other one I believe is level 48.5, something like that. But I'm just rambling. Drapion pretty comfortable in this matchup. We fire off the next crunch, forcing a Protect Shield, and even with my non-PvP IVs, we don't need to shield a Dragon Claw yet. The opponent will outpace to the next Dragon Claw, and I'm going to match shields. One thing you need to know about Galvantula is either got decent matchups or fucking dreadful ones. We need to try and maintain alignment. The opponent goes for a crunch catch onto Poliwrath, no such luck. We send out Galvantula, full send the discharge. The opponent calls the bait and they get fucking wrecked. Of course, back out comes Giratina, but Galvantula will survive any move that isn't Ancient Power. The opponent throws the Dragon Claw. We withstand the damage, return fire with the lunge. Lunge probably be pretty close to knocking out from this range, or probably would knock out the opponent, invest their final Protect Shield, then commit to the full Shadow Claw farm down. We send in Poliwrath. Poliwrath can easily absorb the damage, and like I said, you like to have Sludge Bomb because Sludge Bomb is a beautiful Hail Mary. Sludge Bomb does around 65% to Tapu Fini. We're going to fire off the Skull, get this thing into Sludge Bomb range, go for that wham bam combo play, serve up that Big Mac and the fries. Tapu Fini gets vanquished, back to their Pokeball. The opponent tries the Shadow Claw, farm us down, but Drapion says no, reach the crunch, and that's going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Did I mention Galvantula's either really good or absolutely dreadful? This is one of them situations where it's dreadful. We say switch into Drapion, and the opponent answers with Ampharos. Ampharos Drapion, pretty even. It depends on the opponent's moveset. This opponent farm up to a potential Focus Blast, and I will respect it. The opponent full send the blast, and we withstand the damage. If they've got Focus Blast, you can almost guarantee the next move is Brutal Swing, so we should be able to flip this matchup. The opponent at the Brutal Swing, we're going to call it. The opponent actually probably the only player in the entire world with Thunder Punch Focus Blast. Fuck my life. So now we aren't going to be able to flip switch. However, we can now send in Galvantula. We've got a 1 shield advantage and we need to pray Poliwrath's good. The opponent fire off the Thunder Punch. We do get the full Volt Switch farm down. We send out Poliwrath and it is Virizion in the back. They allow me to throw the Icy Wind first, which will be lowering Virizion's attack. Icy Wind lands for decent, super effective damage. The opponent at the back-to-back. We're going to tank the first Poliwrath. Withstands the damage. The opponent looking to farm up to the back-to-back. They're 1 short. We need 2 counters to knock out Virizion. 1, 2. Get that Virizion out here. I need my switch timer to pop up. We throw 1 counter and the Scald. Scald going to land for huge, super effective against Steelix. I'm trying to switch. Switch timer doesn't pop up. It's now all down to Galvantula to counter Steelix. In comes Galvantula. We throw 2 Volt Switches and the lunge for optimal fast move timing. Minimising the amount of free turns. Lunge doesn't quite knock out Steelix. It's going to outpace by a single turn. Can we survive a non-stab breaking swipe? Who was worried? And this stupid Steel Snake can eat the BM discharge to the face. Get fucking wrecked. Galvantula is a Steelix counter confirmed. You heard it here first. Great lead. However, what isn't great is a Skeledirge safe switch. On paper, a Dark type should counter a Ghost. However, the opponent has a Fire Quick move and it's boosted and it's doing a lot of damage. Our Poison Stings are resisted. However, we do survive 1 Disarming Voice. We tank the first, which is going to allow me to then throw 2 Poison Stings and the Crunch, 2 Poison Stings and the Crunch. The opponent shield both and we get the defense drop. We haven't got alignment. However, we have got a 2 to no shield advantage. We send in Poliwrath. I've actually seen this team before. I believe it's double fire with Charizard or Talonflame in the back. I can't remember who posted it. Was it Rise to the occasion? I'm unsure, I'm going to be honest. However, if we can get Skeledirge out of here, Galvantula is going to be very good against the remainder of the team. The opponent obviously have got double fires. They're looking to draw back out Galvantula. However, that's no problem. We're going to shield up the Icy Wind. We're then going to farm up, throw the discharge on the CMP tie. It's going to be high Poliwrath, by Poliwrath. As we have got a lowered attack, discharge won't be lethal. So we're going to throw 1 Volt Switch and the discharge, maximising as much damage as we can possibly get and minimising the free energy. Discharge isn't quite lethal. However, the opponent looked for the full Incinerate farm down Galvantula, withstands the damage, reaches the lunge. I'm going to blind swap, calling the opponent as a fire type, and they do. Hi Charizard, bye Charizard. GG's and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle, Toxicroak, a pretty decent lead. However, a Shadow Ball would probably vanquish us back to our Pokeball, and even a non-stab Mud Bomb would do a lot. Look at these resisted counters. They're doing as much as our neutral Volt Switches. Both players farm up a boatload of energy. I then farm up to the back-to-back, and I'm full sending their discharge, hoping the opponent would take their shield advantage to actually catch onto green. I throw 1 further Volt Switch, maximising as much energy on Galvantula as I possibly can, and send out Poliwrath. The discharge and Volt Switch damage should allow me to get the full counter farm down. The opponent reached 1 further Body Slam. They're now 4 away. The Squirrel doesn't make another move and Poliwrath leaves loaded. Back out comes Toxicroak and they're essentially in Icy Wind range. The first Icy Wind forces the opponent's first Protect Shield. The opponent looking for the full counter farm down. So Poliwrath reaches Icy Wind number 2 and the opponent actually commit both Protect Shields. This Toxicroak now has so much energy. We're going to come in with Drapion, which obviously is weak to ground. However, with 2-stage lowered attack, this Mud Bomb won't do a lot. I thought the opponent was 1 short of the next move, so I was hoping I could sneak the Volt Switch. They're actually at the back-to-back. But either way, this is where I'm going to spend my final Protect Shield. The opponent's final Pokemon is Greninja. I should have thrown 2 Volt Switches for better timing. However, despite my poor timing, lunge near 1 shot, so we're going to be able to Volt Switch farm down the remainder of the team and take that game. In the next battle, Dragonite. And this is where you're going to see just how glassy we are. By the time we've taken just 12 Dragon Breaths, we're already below half health. We throw the lunge. I normally say no baits on this channel, but Shadow and Shadow Crime, the opponent's definitely shielding everything. We force the debuff effect and then send out Drapion. The opponent banks some energy and send out the big thick boy, Shadow Snorlax Drapion, gets the defense drop on the first go, so we're going for that kill shot. Does the opponent respect the damage? Snorlax is straight in and straight out. Drapion has a respectable amount of health. However, as I'm a Hondo, I'm just going to get Dragon Breath farm down, which is brutal. We don't make the crunch, which would have forced the opponent's final Protect Shield. So I'm just going to send in Poliwrath now and use it as the damage sponge. I doubt the opponent YOLO a Hurricane or a Super. They throw the Dragon Claw. The opponent opts to throw back-to-back, and at this point, I will shield the next one. The opponent's going to need to pivot, or they're going to get farmed down. The opponent's final Pokemon is a Shadow Claw, Typhlosion. We full send the Scald. The opponent shows no respect. They get one shot. We pivot into Galvantula and snipe the Volt Switch and take that game. Heading into the next battle, we see Clefable in the lead. Whenever I've seen a Galvantula player, they always throw lunges, and people love to call it. However, we're full sending the Discharge, rocks Clefable down below half health. And when I'm a Shadow Pokemon, people love to bait. We don't respect shit. The opponent bait with the Meteor Mash, allowing us to reach the lunge. This time, I'm going to throw the lunge, because even though it's resisted, it will knock out. And if the opponent chooses to shield, we're going to force that debuff effect. The opponent sending Gliscor. I was looking to bank a charge move, however my lack of bulk got me scared. We then pivot into Drapion. We call the bait. The opponent throw the Night Slash. They're not baiting me once again. Well, actually, they baited me twice. And we didn't respect either, so good for me. We then throw the Crunch. The opponent looks to get greedy, allowing me to reach the second Crunch on the potential Earthquake CMP. I'm now going to put it all on Poliwrath. The opponent masturbated twice this time. They learned that lesson. They nuked me through 2 shields. However, a 2-shielded Poliwrath going to be pretty good against whatever the opponent's got. Once again, the opponent farming up towards the Earthquake. Fuck it, trainer. Throw it. I dare you. The opponent masturbate once again. However, they get the boost. Oof. We're now going to have to shield this boosted Night Slash or run out of HP. The opponent's final Pokemon is Tentacruel. Why did they stay in? If the opponent would have just pivoted, I think they would have won this game. To be honest, it's not looking fantastic for me. Fire off the first Scald. We don't see the attack drop. Poliwrath fires off Scald. Number 2, and again we see no attack drop. The opponent gets greedy, looking for the full Poison Jab farm down. Poliwrath reaches the Icy Wind. Is that 1 Volt Switch range? Yes, it is. However, we're also in 2 Poison Jab range, and we're going to take a tie. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Spice Zone. Shadow Galvantula into Magnezone. Where else are you going to see this? A very cool spicy pick from my opponent. We farm up, throw the lunge, lowering Magnezone's ridiculous attack. The opponent YOLO the Flash Cannon. Holy, that did a lot. They then give up switch, sending out Giratina, and we answer with Drapion. Shadow Drapion is the channel mascot, and I've got loads of experience using this. So Giratina is a very common safe switch, and if you're going to run Drapion, you're going to see this matchup a lot. It's how I like to play it. You just constantly throw on the CMP ties. So Giratina alternates between 5, then 4 for each Dragon Claw. So you're going to see constantly I just keep throwing on CMP. If they're on a 5 cycle, I throw 5. If they're on a 4 cycle, we're going to throw 4. That is going to allow me to maximise as much energy as I can physically get. And that is also going to allow me to make a charge move against Magnezone. If I was using my rank 1, I actually think I'd make this next move. But it is what it is. The opponent's already down 1 Protect Shield. So we're going to look to snipe all this energy, throw in the lunge. We do win CMP. Galvantula has a ridiculous 181.5 attack. It doesn't lose CMP to all that much. We send out Poliwrath up 2 Protect Shields, and it's Cress in the back. Oof, this could get dicey. Of course, we're going to shield up the first move as it would do the most damage. I think straight Scald would be the play. However, I want to guarantee that 100% chance of the debuff rather than the 50% Scald chance. We actually are able to reach back-to-back Icy Winds. We now lower Cresselia's attack by 2 stages, and we're also going to shield this. Galvantula is so incredibly low, I think the best use for it is going to be as a 3rd shield. Switch timer will be popping up shortly. We send out Galvantula. The opponent doesn't react quick enough. They actually YOLO the Future Sight. Oof. Future Sight, even double debuffed, could be a problem. We fire off the Scald as I think throwing an Icy Wind would be my lose con. We get the 3rd attack drop. Does Poliwrath now survive the Future Sight? Yes, we do. Who was worried? We reach 1 further Scald, and Poliwrath is a Cresselia counter confirmed. Definitely not, as we did have a 2-0 shield advantage. Moving on to the next one. Galvantula into defense Deoxys. A pretty good lead. The opponent goes straight for a Psycho boost, and we're not going to respect it, and that did ridiculous damage. The opponent then sends out Greedent, and I respond with Poliwrath. An argument could be made that you could debuff and dip, as I'd still be able to outpace defense Deoxys when it returns. However, Galvantula is such a ridiculous attack stat, I just like to bank all of my energy. We're going to tank 2 Body Slams, we're then going to throw the Scald on the CMP tile and look to get this Greedent out of here. To my surprise, the opponent looks like they want to make a play at winning switch. We get the attack drop, so I don't even think Body Slam will be lethal. Body Slam gets us low, however, Poliwrath able to reach the Icy Wind. Is the opponent willing to 2-shield Greedent? Yes, they are. Holy, the opponent really wants switch. Unfortunately for the opponent, I think we've got an even better defense Deoxys answer in the form of Drapion. Obviously, Galvantula would need to respect the Rock Side, whereas Drapion isn't going to respect anything. The opponent send out Registeel, then pivot into DD. DD is going to be met with the lunge. Lunge isn't lethal, so we're going to throw the next one on the CMP tie. Get this defense Deoxys off my screen. Just the tin can remains. The opponent really should top left. However, if they want that work, my God, am I about to give it to them. We go straight for the discharge. Discharge lands for decent neutral damage. The opponent is going to need to throw or make another charge move. And unfortunately for this opponent, they're going to get BM'd. If they don't top left, I'm going to send in Drapion. We're going to fire off the Crunch first, and then I'm going to throw the double resisted Sludge Bomb. We've still got 2 Protect Shields, and unfortunately, Registeel, you hit like a wet noodle. I'm not respecting shit. The opponent throw the Zap Cannon, we withstand the damage, and the opponent rudely concede before I get to BM them. Moving on to the next one. The dreaded Dragonite lead. So we're going to play it the same as we played it last time. Fire off the lunge, go to Drapion, and essentially just pray. I used to throw the Crunch instantly, however most people look to catch it and often onto Tapu Fini. So now what I do is I tank the charge move and then I blind Sludge Bomb, hoping the opponent brings in Fini. This opponent actually brings in Lantern. So either way, Sludge Bomb does do more damage than Crunch. I'm going to throw the next Crunch. I don't think the opponent's going to be able to spark me down. We get the defense shot, which should force the opponent to throw, which it does. And this is where we're going to go for a really ballsy play. Switch timer is up. We're going to send in Galvantula. The opponent's going to 1 and throw the Surf. So we're not going to tap the screen. We're going to wait a turn, send in Poliwrath and absorb the Surf damage. Surf does absolutely nothing. The opponent then give up switch, sending out Jellicent. And despite making a nice catch, it looks like we're going to get RPS'd for the loss as Poliwrath can do absolutely nothing to Jellicent. We do get the attack drop. I've got 2 Protect Shields. I think I should top left, however, let's see if we can make something happen. I moaned at the last opponent for not top left in. However, let's see if we can make something happen. If the opponent go for a silly bait here, we might have a chance. The opponent full send the Shadow Ball. We're going to return fire with the Scold. Scold is going to get Jellicent low. We then look to snipe with a Volt Switch. 1 Volt Switch doesn't take care of Jelly. We're going to be forced to shield this up, however, I think we're just going to get Dragon Breath farmed down. And we do. We die at the charge move. We've got the Icy Wind bank, and either way, we're going to take the loss. GG's to that opponent. Heading into the final battle of the video, we lead Galvantula into Cresselia. Let's see if this opponent also make a savage catch. I think it's really easy to catch on Volt Switch, and once again, the opponent does make that catch. However, either way, we're not disappointed, as Lunge is going to lower Poliwrath's attack. We can then build up back to the Discharge or Lunge, and then send in our own Poliwrath with the Volt Switch damage. I'm going to be able to counter farm this all the way down. The opponent is going to fire off the Icy Wind first. They could throw the Scold this time, which would do more damage. They do throw the Scold. They're 2 for 2 on debuffs, but Poliwrath doesn't give a shit. We've got a lot of energy and a lot of health, so the opponent returns with Cresselia. It'll be an almost impossible Psycho Cut farm down. They actually send out Mandibuzz. We throw 1 counter and the Icy Wind. However, it looked like they got a free Snarl. I've got no idea how or no idea why. The opponent then give up switch, sending out Cresselia, and they have no idea just how hard of a counter Galvantula is going to be for the remainder of the team. We send back out Galvantula, throw the Lunge. Lunge will be going unshielded. The opponent then just goes straight Grass Knot. Trainer, I can count to 6, and that isn't anything other than a Grass Knot. We call the bait, and the opponent is going to concede the match. GG's, and thanks for playing. So time for my honest review of Galvantula. Is it any good? I think it can be decent in certain team comps. I did shoutcast some Shadow Galvantula a couple of seasons ago with Jellicent and Mandibuzz, and the idea of the team was just hard win lead and RPS the backline. However, if you're someone like me that likes to have some sort of fun and use quite squishy Pokemon, it is incredibly hard to use. These battles were hand selected and I went 10 and 15, so that probably tells you all you need to know. However, if you'd like to drop a like for me spending all my Stardust and getting slapped in GBL, I'd appreciate it. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you like your battles featured on my channel, a link to our battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thank you to everyone for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.